Here are the top stories for today, June 25, 2020. UV Express vans and traditional public utility jeepneys will be allowed to resume transport operations next week. The Interagency Task Force is weighing carefully the factors in allowing the entry of foreign experts. Leyte Representative Lucy Torres Gomez said fear of abuse of law should not be a valid reason to reject anti-terrorism bill. And Dinagat carpenters help build beds for COVID-19 quarantine facilities. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. UV Express vans and traditional public utility jeepneys will be allowed to resume transport operations in Metro Manila starting next week. LTFRB Chief Martin Delgra on Wednesday said they are following a hierarchy wherein transport modes with higher passenger capacity will be prioritized, such as trains, buses, and modern public utility vehicles, as long as minimum health standards are observed. He did not specify when exactly would traditional PUJs be allowed to ply Metro Manila roads.
Ang susunod po, yung mga UV Express, no? At saka yung mga traditional jeepney ang susunod. So yun po ang naiplano na po para mailatag natin yung mga modes of public transport and partial manner of deployment of our public transport services po.
The LTFRB has allowed at least 308 modern PUJs to ply 15 select routes in Metro Manila as of Monday, with more routes to resume operation within the week. Delgra said the resumption of PUJ operations in 15 routes in Metro Manila is part of their calibrated response to restore mass transportation in Metro Manila and the adjacent provinces. Police commandos are to help enforce lockdown and strict quarantine protocols in Cebu City. Joint Task Force COVID Shield Chief Police Lieutenant General Guillermo Eleazar said some 150 members of the PNP Special Action Force are to be deployed to Cebu City to help implement strict stay-at-home measures. Aside from SAF troops, soldiers were also deployed in the region and its nearby areas. Eleazar said SAF assets like the multi-purpose armored vehicles will also be deployed in Cebu City, as well as air assets to check on the observance of physical distancing. The move was prompted by the spike of COVID-19 cases in the city, brought about by overconfidence and complacency of many city residents. For more news and developments in Cebu City, here's Benj Bondog.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government is imposing a one-pass per family policy in Cebu City to avert further increase in the number of COVID-19 cases. DILG Central Visayas Director and Regional IATF EID Chair Leocadio Tlavela said the suspension of the city government-issued quarantine passes will avert further increase in the number of COVID-19 cases, as the 250,000 quarantine passes issued by the city government are too many. He said DILG Secretary Eduardo Año's instruction before flying back to Manila on Wednesday morning was to put on board barangay officials and the Philippine National Police in processing the distribution of the city quarantine passes. Cebu City Mayor Edgardo Labella earlier appealed for a downgrade of the risk classification in Cebu City to general community quarantine. Meanwhile, Cebu Governor Gwendolyn Garcia on Tuesday ordered to rearrange the strict border control. Under an executive order, no person shall be allowed entry into the territorial jurisdiction of the province of Cebu except for the governor, vice governor, board members, and mayors. Also exempted from entry ban are justices of the judiciary, prosecutors, ombudsman and his deputies, Cebuano lawmakers, and officials of regional agencies. Private and government doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals are required to present Professional Regulation Commission-issued license, ID, and certification from the hospital. Also exempted from the ban are media personnel, police, and the military, among others. Cebu's nearby city also closed its doors to contain the spread of COVID-19. Bacolod City, which is 200 kilometers away from Cebu City, has suspended the entry of its own residents coming from Cebu, saying the 33 positive cases in Negros Occidental since June 16 are all locally stranded individuals from Cebu. Negros Occidental Governor Eugenio Jose Lacson said that for now, all quarantine facilities are full and the province wants to avoid more positive cases coming from Cebu. He also appealed to the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases to also include the whole Cebu province in the travel ban. Lacson said the decision to resume the travel of Negrenses from Cebu will still depend on the availability of rooms in the patient care centers. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
In Legazpi City, Albay, all locally stranded individuals returning overseas Filipinos and authorized persons outside residents coming from outside the Bicol region should pass through the city health protocols and procedures. Instead of going home while waiting for the result of their swab test, these incoming residents will now proceed to the Legazpi City Community Home Quarantine Facility immediately upon arrival. Legazpi City Mayor and Task Force COVID-19 Chairperson Noel Rosal said they shall be subjected to health assessment screening tests and proper profiling and recording at the facility quarantine. All villages, through their Barangay Health Emergency Response Team, are directed to regularly monitor the health status of all newly arrived individuals in their respective jurisdictions. The Armed Forces of the Philippines has facilities that could accommodate locally stranded individuals. The Philippine Army opened its wellness center, the Army General Hospital, and specific areas at the Libingan ng mga Bayani to cater to the LSIs. A total of 408 LSIs have been accommodated since June 13. Meanwhile, the AFP turned over 2 emergency quarantine facilities to Muntinlupa City on Tuesday. This brings the number of facilities constructed by the military and private stakeholders to 72. Navy Captain Jonathan Zata said the construction of this EQFS located in Barangay Sukat will serve as additional triage to congest hospital wards as part of the government's efforts in battling the COVID-19 pandemic. The Philippine National Police has reactivated the tourist-oriented Police for Community Order and Protection, or TOPCOP, to the areas under Modified General Community Quarantine. PNP Chief General Archie Gamboa on Wednesday ordered local police units to strengthen the tourist police assistance desks to ensure that local tourists will strictly follow health protocols based on the existing guidelines by the Interagency Task Force. Aside from proper observance of health protocols, Gamboa said the tourist police will also provide added security operations for all local tourists and establishments and to respond to tourist-related security and safety issues. The Philippine Airlines will start its Manila-Antiquue flights provided it meets the load requirement. PAL management says it would open its operations from the NAIA Terminal 2 in Manila to Antique Airport on June 28. PAL Iloilo branch manager Ricky De La Cruz said they have to meet the 90% load of the 86-seater airplane. This is equivalent to 78 passengers. The passenger flight would take off at the NAIA 2 for Antique Airport between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. and the same plane will be used for the return flight to Manila. The availability of the flight depends on whether the number of passengers would reach the required load. Still to come, the Interagency Task Force is weighing carefully the factors in allowing the entry of foreign experts. And the National Bureau of Investigation warns on the proliferation of investment scams. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ba yung aming milking area? Punta natin? Punta pa natin.
Nakahilera dyan ba? Tapos sa isang yata din. Tapos twice a day.
Maghapon lang?
Twice a day milking.
Twice a day kami. Magmimilk kami sa madaling araw, magmimilk kami sa hapon.
Sugod siya ng mga alas 3.
Ganun kabilis mag-lactate. Relations Secretary sa Provincial Program. Myself, I'm from Manila. Taga rito ako pero sa Manila tumira. Pero pagdating ng panahon na nakaipon na, mas prepare ang buhay probinsya. So natitira lamang, edi yung pamilya, pero dito kami sa probinsya.
So yung mga gusto magbalik probinsya, halimbawa sa Mindanao o sa Norte, tapos ang gusto nilang gawin mag-dairy farming o
Pwede po
magbuo
namin
ng
sila
cooperative
i-train
dito para magbalik probinsya.
Kami naman accredited din ng TESDA for dairy farming. Tayo po ay, ang bata ko po ay kilala ng ambassador ng New Zealand at accredited kami ng kinikilala ng New Zealand na yung aming mga binibigyan dito ng certificate na nag-train as dairy farmer, accepted po sa kanila. And
Si Rodel lang pala yung sagot natin, pati Badako Si Cesar
kasi yung pong mga iba naman dito, tungkol naman doon sa ayaw naman sa buhay farm, nagre-reselling na, marketing. Malakas ang aming marketing dito, yung mga na-lockdown, na mga walang trabaho sa Manila na natigil dito ng saradong kumpanya. Nag-marketing sila, yung bumuhay sa amin, yung reselling. Sila nagbebenta.
Sa mga subdivision siya.
Sila din yung nagpa-pasteurize.
No, post-rise na, finished product na.
Finish na.
Kayo na gumagawa.
Opo, mamaya nakikita po nyo yung finished product.
Punta natin.
Sige po.
Kumbaga,
Tatay, pwede dumaan.
ako gusto kong tikman yung
Ay, po.
chocolate. Yung
Ayan.
chocolate.
Okay.
Ito para maingganyo yung mga gusto magbalik probinsya, pwede kayo magtayo ng dairy farm. Grupo kayo. Bango. So mga ilang araw pa lang ito? 7 days pa lang ito. Wow.
How does it taste?
Wow, fresh na fresh. Fresh chocolate. Sarap. Guys, bago maubos. Tama na yung video. Tignan niyo muna.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said the government is weighing carefully the factors in allowing the entry of foreign experts. Guevara, who is a member of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-EID, said a foreign embassy, which he did not identify, had requested the Philippine government to allow the entry of its nationals with permanent or long-term visas. He said the IATF is studying these matters very carefully as they have to deal with the repatriation of thousands of OFWs and do not want them to be crowded out by foreign nationals who will likewise have to be tested and quarantined upon arrival. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Public Accounts, chaired by Anak Kalusugan Representative Mike Defensor, is set to conduct on Friday a congressional inquiry into the issues concerning the repatriation of stranded overseas Filipino workers. Defensor said his committee will try to identify the agency's problems in trying to get the OFWs home. As the national government reiterates the importance of implementing and following the health protocols, more local government units are still up and alert to contain the dreaded disease. Janice Cabi for the details.
Efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 are underway in the provinces. In Bicol, the Department of Health is calling on all passengers of Cebu Pacific Flight 5J325 on June 18 to immediately coordinate with their respective barangay health emergency response teams after a passenger was confirmed positive of coronavirus disease 2019. According to DOH, a 56-year-old male from Legazpi City is the region's 90th confirmed case of COVID-19 with a travel history from Muntinlupa in Metro Manila. In Angeles City, a public market was temporarily shut down on Wednesday after a vendor who tested positive from COVID-19 died Tuesday. The deceased was a 21-year-old male from Barangay Pampang who had diabetes. Mayor Carmelo Lazatin Jr. called for an emergency meeting to immediately conduct rapid testing on all stall owners and vendors at the Pampang Public Market as well as to disinfect the premises. An intensive contact tracing was also quickly performed to prevent the spread of the disease. In Bulacan, a simultaneous post-audit monitoring on the compliance of barbershops, salons, and dine-in food establishments was conducted by the Department of Trade and Industry on Tuesday. The inspection team assessed the capacity, sanitation, personnel, and health protocols of each establishment. DTI Bulacan Director-in-Charge Ernani Dionisius said all monitored establishments so far were compliant with the said guidelines. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Cooperatives in Marawi City and Lanao del Sur gear up for the production of durian ice cream and abaca. Christine Lynn Viajante files this report.
The Department of Trade and Industry distributes livelihood equipment to beneficiaries of its Shared Service Facility program under the Bangon Marawi project. The SSF program aims to give support to cooperatives of affected residents in Marawi City and Lanao del Sur. Receiving equipment for mass production of their commercialized durian ice cream are beneficiaries of the Disenteng Serbisyo para sa Magsasaka Agriculture Cooperative.
I'm so happy sa DTI at FBM, yung mga ahensya ng gobyerno na tumulong talaga dito. But at top of this one, nasa DTI talaga. Kasi sila talagang tumulong sa amin, DTI. Especially Region 10, sila yung nag-i-encourage sa mga Maranao Muslim na you have to strive hard for this hard time kasi napakahirap. Siege, tapos ngayon naman, pandemic tayo.
Moreover, the Mindanao State University received apparatuses for their plant tissue laboratory to assist cooperatives relying on abaca production. Other than that, the department also gave materials and supplies to the intricate works of the Rahima Peace Weavers Cooperative.
Natulungan niya kami sa pamamagitan ng kaming mga kababaihan dito ay karamihan sa amin is walang trabaho. Katulad ko, nakatapos ako pero wala akong trabaho. Kaya nagpapasalamat ako kasi nung dumating ito, nagkaroon kami ng experience at saka kahit paunti-unti nagkakaroon kami ng kinikita syempre.
To date, 38 out of 40 SSF are already distributed by DTI. Meanwhile, internally displaced persons in Marawi continuously receive their livelihood starter kits. More than 39,000 or 79.23 of its 50,000 target kits are already handed over by the department. For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lynn Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
In General Santos City, the National Bureau of Investigation warned residents from getting lured in illegal investment schemes that have proliferated amid the pandemic. NBI Sarangani Chief Attorney Regner Peneza advised residents to refrain entertaining investment offers from certain entities that promise huge payouts through Ponzi-like schemes. Peneza said manhunt operations are ongoing against operators of investment scams that victimized residents in Sarangani and the neighboring areas last year. These include the masterminds of Kappa Community Ministry International Incorporated, Alabel Maasim Credit Cooperative, Chantal Marketing, and Munificence. Peneza confirmed that they received another warrant of arrest for syndicated estafa against 5 officials of Munificence. He said they have activated special teams to track down and investigative leads regarding the possible whereabouts of the suspects. In our business news, the Department of Trade and Industry bared Wednesday it received nearly 10,000 complaints related to fraudulent online transactions in the first 6 months of the year. Online transactions increased in the past months as the quarantine measures restricted the movement of people. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez said consumers' trust issues in transacting online along with a lack of confidence in using digital payment, is one of the main challenges in domestic e-commerce. Lopez expressed support for House Bill 6122, or the Internet Transactions Act, that aims to regulate enterprises using online platforms and protect consumers in transacting online. Lopez encouraged online businesses to register their activities to help them build trust with their customers and also grow their business. Up next, Leyte Representative Lucy Torres Gomez said fear of abuse of law should not be a valid reason to reject the anti-terrorism bill. And Dinagat carpenters help build beds for COVID-19 quarantine facilities. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Sa bahay nagsisimula ang kaalaman at paghahanda. Kasabay ng muling pagsisimula natin ay ang bagong pamumuhay para sa ikabubuti ng lahat. Sundin ang mga panuntunan ng inyong lokal na pamahalaan at lugar na pupuntahan. Sundin palagi ang physical distancing. Pag-uwi, maghugas ng kamay at ihanda ng mabuti ang mga ilulutong pagkain. Kapag may nararamdaman, katulad ng mga sintomas ng COVID-19, kumonsulta sa doktor online gamit ang mga iba't ibang paraan ng telemedicine upang hindi na muna umalis ng bahay. Kung hirap huminga, magpakonsulta ka agad sa pinakamalapit na health facility. Maaari ring tawagan ang inyong Barangay Health Emergency Response Team o BHERT. Ang mga kapamilyang may kasalukuyang karamdaman at mga nakatatanda ay dapat mas ingatan. Kung may nabago man sa aming buhay, ito ay ang pagdudobleng ingat para mapangalagaan ang isa't isa at ang kapwa. Dahil ang natutunan sa bahay ay sandata para sa new normal.
A manhunt operation is ongoing against communist rebels who burned heavy equipment in Valencia City, Bukidnon last June 19. The Army's 4th Infantry Division said the rebels responsible for the torching of quarrying equipment belonged to a unit under the NPA North Central Mindanao Regional Committee. The rebel unit is under Fredo Banawan, a native of Barangay Kawayan, Quezon Town, Bukidnon, who is wanted for arson, extortion, grave threat, and murder. Banawan also has a standing arrest warrant for trafficking in persons. Major General Andres Centino, the newly installed 4ID commander, called on all citizens to support their campaign against a communist terrorist group. He also appealed to victims of extortion to come forward and cooperate with authorities to deter the NPA from attacking civilians. A leader of the New People's Army was killed on Tuesday in a clash with government troops in Barangay San Bernardo, Bulusan Town, Sorsogon. The 9th Infantry Division identified the slain rebel as Ian Estrellado alias Ela or Carding, the Vice Commanding Officer of Platoon 1, Larangan 1, Komiteng Provincia 3 of the Bicol Regional Party Committee. It said an Army and police composite team was about to serve an arrest warrant to Estrellado, who is facing a murder complaint, when the suspect and his companions fired upon the troops. A brief gunfight ensued that led to the killing of Estrellado. The Army continues to call on members of the terrorist group to value lives and to return to the fold of the law. 11 rebel returnees from Antique province have cited that their trust in government led them to turn their backs from the armed struggle of the New People's Army or NPA. The 11 CPP-NPA were leaders and members of the Panay Regional Committee operating in the area of Panay Island. The police regional office in Western Visayas on Tuesday said the rebels believe they can get more help when they come back to the fold, as they also experienced hardship in the mountains. The 11 rebels surrendered to the Antique Police Provincial Office through a middleman. The PRO-6 is also anticipating for the CPP-NPA to deny that the returnees are their members. The security forces will validate first the participation of the individuals to CPP-NPA activities as a process of recording their surrender. These surrenderers will receive assistance from the national government under the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program or ECLIP. Leyte 4th District Representative Lucy Torres Gomez defended anew the proposed anti-terrorism bill which recently hurdled Congress. Gomez said fear of abuse of law should not be a valid reason to reject important measures seeking to address terrorism, which should be preventive rather than reactive. She said the fear that the law can be abused is not unfounded, but there are safeguards in place to prevent those from happening. Torres Gomez said the proposed measure is not asking for changes on judicial authority as power remains in the courts. She noted that the Anti-Terrorism Council will deputize an officer to pursue a probable cause based on the rule of hot pursuit. Torres Gomez said there is a need to measure whether the risk of the wrongful arrest or the risk of a terror attack happening weighs heavier. She called on critics of the bill to read the measure thoroughly. In our foreign news, Thailand on Wednesday said it was free from local COVID-19 infections for the last 30 days. The Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration said the Buddhist majority nation has not reported any local COVID-19 infections for the last 1 month. One new reported case was reported on Wednesday after a returnee from the Philippines tested positive for the virus. The center said this shows the importance of what it called Thai people power, which has kept the country free of the disease. Thailand has reported 3,157 infections so far, with 3,026 recoveries and 58 deaths. Baguio City hopes to start accepting a limited number of tourists by September amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The city government said they are devising a system where tourists will have to register before they can be allowed entry. When the registration has reached its limit, the city will ask the registrants to visit at another day. With the last leg of the Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway Rosario exit to open on July 15, the trip to the city will further be shortened, making Baguio more accessible to everybody. Meanwhile, a dairy farm in the summer capital owned by the Department of Agriculture is aiming to become the Cordillera region's milk capital. A total of 59 Holstein Friesian cows from Australia has allowed the Baguio Animal Breeding and Research Center to increase milk production from only 8 liters a day to 19 liters. The DA's Dairy Development Project had also reached the town of Sadanga in Mountain Province, where 6.9 million pesos worth of support for integrated farming. In the continued fight against COVID-19, carpenters from Dinagat Island are helping patients by making them more beds through the Carpentero project. The initiative aims to equip the province's municipal care and containment centers while providing employment to 21 carpenters. Carpentero earned the support of Cagdianao Mining Corporation, which provided building materials for the project. CMC, a subsidiary of Nickel Asia Corporation that mines nickel in Barangay Valencia, provided the materials and the labor expenses for the carpenters who built 150 beds in 5 days. Governor Arlene Kaka Bagao said the 150 beds are to be distributed to all 7 municipalities. As of Wednesday, Dinagat Islands remains COVID-free even as it continued to closely monitor the health and safety of the communities. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. UV Express vans and traditional public utility jeepneys will be allowed to resume transport operations next week. The Interagency Task Force is weighing carefully the factors in allowing the entry of foreign experts. Leyte Representative Lucy Torres Gomez said fear of abuse of law should not be a valid reason to reject anti-terrorism bill. And Dinagat carpenters help build beds for COVID-19 quarantine facilities. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.